Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So we've had a look at tomorrow's racing and I feel there's a few that I like, including starting at 12:40 at Cheltenham in the Novices Handicap Chase. Personally, I feel this could be between the two Oliver Greenhill and Josh Guerrero horses because Resplendent Grey and Massacio, I like both of those two horses. They're both carrying 12 stone. They're rated 1-4-3. They're both going to get in at the Cheltenham Festival. They don't need to be winning any races. If they do, they would have to, or I don't know what they would run in. They'd have to run in the plate or maybe even try and find one of the graded races. They might have to go up to the Brown Advisory. I don't think either of those want that. They want the handicap, and the only way to get in the handicap or to get a nice handicap mark is to get beat tomorrow. The opposite can be said for Jaguar and Billy the Real Big Red. Both of those, in my opinion, need to win. They're both rated, one's rated 131, one 132. So there's not a lot between them. I actually feel the weight allowance that Billy the Real Big Red's getting, because being a 5-year-old, what's he getting? For £7, £6. He's got £6 weight allowance. I think that's too much. I actually really like chasers, the horses that go chasing at 4 and 5 years old. I think they can progress, and they can actually, their longevity in the game can really stick around, and they can keep going for many years over fences. I really like Billy the Real Big Red. I thought his previous wins have been good. He did win over 2.5 2 runs ago. They then dropped him back to 2 Mile at Exeter, and he won there again. And when he won over 2.5 at Bangor, he actually won it by 14 lengths. He absolutely walloped them. Personally, I think this trip will suit him more than the Exeter 2 Mile trip. So there's more to come from him. He's over fences as a 5-year-old. Really like him. And I think that will be the one that ends up at Cheltenham. Whereas I don't think Jaguar will. To be fair to Jaguar, 2 runs ago, his form was good. When he beat Lowry's Bar, that does look a good bit of form. But then he got beat last time by a very good horse in Jinko Blue, but also by Hashtag Boom, and that's the concern for me. Hashtag Boom didn't go out and frank it yesterday. Very disappointing. I just feel that Jaguar might be towards the top of his mark now at 132, whereas Billy the Real Big Red I don't think is at the top of his mark, and I think he can continue proving. You can get 9-2 about Billy the Real Big Red. I think he'll go off a bit shorter. I think he'll end up going off second favourite behind Jaguar. Moving on to to the 130 at Doncaster, and I put this horse up a few days ago, as one that I was looking out for on Saturday, and that is Third Time Lucky. I think he's a big price tomorrow. Let's just load up the prices for this race. 12s and 14s about Third Time Lucky. I think that's too big personally. On his return at Cheltenham, in a race behind Matata, he ran a really good race. Came there looking like he was going to get involved. Okay, Matata ran away from him at the end, but that was his first run for Fergal O'Brien and for 584 days. And I feel he needed that run. And then last time out, maybe just bounced a bit. Finished 6th of 6. I think they'll revert their tactics. They'll go back to being held up. He has dropped in the weights because of that. He went from 145 to 142 to 138, £7 lower than when running an eye-catching race on his return in November. I feel that's enough to now start getting him involved in these races. He finished second. He finished in front of Calico 2 runs ago. He's significantly lower in the weights. Calico's not dropped at all. And yet, on the odds, Calico's down here at 4s and 9-2. Third Time Lucky's out here at 14s. I feel that's wrong. Third Time Lucky has some good form. And also, it's a Doncaster. He's been here once. Third Time Lucky. He absolutely walloped Do Your Job that day. He won by 30 lengths. So clearly loves, will enjoy Doncaster. There's no negatives really about Third Time Lucky. Jack Hogan takes another 3 off. He's running off 135. He's absolutely thrown in, particularly on his best form. We've obviously got to remember he ran in the Grand Annual a few years ago. What did he do? He finished 4th, didn't he? Sixth in a county hurdle off 143. He was also, where is it? I'm looking on my other screen at the moment. Fourth in a Grand Annual off 149. He's effectively running off 135 now. I feel this could be we need to try and win this to get back into the Grand Annual. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if they did, even at these massive odds of 12s and 14s. I really like Third Time Lucky here. I think he's going to run a big race. Moving back to Cheltenham for the 150. Another one I tweeted about a few days ago. Wouldn't be changing my mind here. Ginny's Destiny. Let's just... Whoops. That's my recording page. 150. Ginny's Destiny, totally understand why he's shortening even more. I highlighted him for the 2.5 novice chasers that have been at Cheltenham over the last few months after he disappointed at Newbury. But he fell in the water that day. He went off 3-1, fell in the water, didn't get pulled up quite quickly after that. That came off a mark of 155. He's now down to 152. This doesn't look anywhere near as competitive. He's 7-2. He's going to go off shorter than that. He went off 3s for a much better race, or a better race 2 runs ago. It wasn't the worst run at Huntingdon, but it wasn't a handicap. It was a graded race. He was 3rd behind Jello and Protectorat. Protectorat franked that form. Jello at least ran okay in that race behind Protectorat, finishing 2nd. This is back to a handicap for Ginny's Destiny. He is one that I could also see going really well here and then ending up in the plate and still running a big race in the plate as well. Ginny's Destiny may well be my nap tomorrow. Moving on to the 315 at Doncaster, and I've highlighted 2 in this race. We're going to go with the Changing Man again. He's been very unlucky for us last couple of times. 2nd at Ascot, 2nd at Newcastle. Kind of beaten by the right horses, in my opinion. Frero Bombu, we always suggested, was well handicapped. I didn't think Frero Bombu would appreciate the 3-mile trip, but he certainly did. Did go up in the weights, obviously, for that. Frero Bombu went up £8. The Changing Man is also up £7. However, I feel that the Changing Man, there's still more to come from him. His 2nd again to Victorino, the right horse in the Silver Cup at Ascot. There's no real negatives about the Changing Man. He's going to run a nice race again. It's whether he is actually a bit ungenuine, because he's now finished 2nd 3 times in his last 4 runs. I don't think he is just yet. I'm happy to give him another chance here. I think they've kept him for this race. And I think it will run a really nice race here. That's the 315. Currently available at 11-2, which I feel is a fair price about him. The second horse that I do definitely want to pick up is Famous Bridge, who's available at 16s. And I feel that that's a bit too big. I don't think his form this season has been disastrous. He finished 2nd to Elvis Mail. Didn't Elvis Mail come out and win yesterday or the day before? No, I must have made that up. Oh no, that was something Elvis in Ireland, wasn't it? I don't feel that's bad form, finishing 2nd to Elvis Mail. And then he finished 3rd last time out at Haydock in the Tommy Whittle, when he was sent off the 100-30 favourite, off a mark of 137. Now, he dropped £1 for that. But interestingly, that means from last year, he's actually £3 lower in this race. He went off the 13-2 joint favourite for this race last year. It didn't work. He made a bad mistake at the 3rd and was never travelling afterwards. Well, they've come back for this, possibly for compensation, And his form after that wasn't bad. He went to Cheltenham and finished 4th in the Old Teamer. So it's not like he's been badly out of form, he's completely lost his way or anything like that. I think he's still running nice races. He went off significantly shorter, off a £3 higher mark. The cheek pieces are on. There's so many reasons why Famous Bridge could bounce back here to run a performance that they were probably expecting last year when he went off the, as I said, the 13-2 favourite. Interestingly, last season he went off 7-2 favourite, 9-4 favourite, 5-2 favourite, 13-2 favourite, 9-2. He went off 25-1 for the Old Teamer and ran a really good race for for fourth. And then even last time out, he went off favourite. So in his last, I'm just counting these up. In his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 runs, he's gone off favourite 7 times? 8 times. In his last 10 runs, he's gone off favourite 8 times. He's run well in most of those. The only one he really disappointed in was this race last year when he made a mistake at the third. You can forgive that run. He's run perfectly respectable since. He's dropped a little bit in the handicap. He's only a pound higher than when winning the Tommy Whittle last year. 16s looks too big. I quite like that one. 2 more to go. Starting at Cheltenham. I made a tweet about this one. I don't trust Crambo as being a Grade 1 horse, and I don't trust Strong Leader over this trip. Gamble Road, however, you can't knock his form really. I think he stays the trip. He finished second over 3 mile to the Wall Park, Doyen Quest, and Long Draw, and then recently finished second to Lucky Place in a Grade 2. The Rail Kill. He's going to run his race. He always runs his race pretty much at Cheltenham. He's going to run his race again. He does have a little bit of, because he hasn't won the Grade 1s, he gets £6 from Crambo, £6 from Strong Leader, £4 from Montmirail. He's really consistent. I feel he's the one that I want to be on tomorrow. And what price is he now? I know he is getting shorter. He's still available if you can get that force. It's a fictitious force. He's still available at 7-2. I feel he'll go off second favourite behind Crambo. But I feel he's the most likely winner in this race. As I said, I don't like Crambo. I still don't think he's a proper Grade 1 horse. And Strong Leader, I'm not totally sure over this trip still. Whereas Gamble Road, I think, is just going to be one of these that is always running well. Doesn't really seem to flop at all. When the others don't quite perform up to their level again, or their ratings, Gamble Road will, and Gamble Road will take advantage, I feel, tomorrow. And finally, we move on to the 342 at Uttoxeter. Now, this is the one we are having to rely on forecast prices, but the forecast price for this horse is 8-1. And that's Party Business. I feel he might actually be priced up a bit bigger than that, particularly as his form recently doesn't look great. Pulled up, 7th, 3rd, pulled up. But I've kind of got reasons why some of those didn't work. So, this trip will suit him. 3 mile 2, I think will suit him really well. We've got to remember that he did win a Grade 3 handicap back at Aintree back in 2022 off a mark of 132. He's only running here off 122. He actually went up to a high of 141. Last season, some of his efforts were fine. 5th in a handicap behind Zane Knights off 132. 5th behind Zane Knights again at Haydock off 132. Then pulled up over 2.5. That was too short when he went over fences. Too short. It didn't quite work that day. They dropped him back to hurdles very quickly. He then ran over 2-3 at Bangor. Too short. 2-4 at Worcester. Too short. Then ran at Galway and ran a good race. Finished 3rd off a mark of 122. Trying to run at Galway, you're always going to find that there's some Irish horses that are significantly better handicapped than you. And I feel he found that. But I feel that meant off that 120 mark, over the right trip, he could certainly run a nice race. Last time out, he ran in a Potemps qualifier. He did disappoint. Was on heavy going though. I just feel that now we're back on better ground. You look at his previous form, it's all been on better going. He's back on better going. He's back over the right trip. He's over fences. He is very nicely handicapped. He's had a run in December. He's got fitness on his side. I think he could be very nicely handicapped, and I think he's going to run a really big race here. If he bounces back to anywhere near his best form, Party Business is the one to beat here. And at forecast price of 8s, I'm hoping we get a bit bigger than that because we've got the likes of Wallbucks, Good Work and Imaginary Dragon who are coming into it in much better form than Party Business. I'm hoping that everyone looks at that and go, well, he's lost his way, 10s, 12s, 14s. If you can get those sort of prices about Party Business, I would be very happy with that. So, a bit quicker analysis today. I do have to go to a hospital appointment, so let's just do a quick recap. Billy the Real Big Red, I think, is nicely handicapped. I think he's very progressive, and I think he'll prove to be the best of the two Ollie Greeno and Josh Guerrero horses. Third Time Lucky is significantly well handicapped, especially on his best form. He has been to this course before, and he absolutely walloped Do Your Job. I feel he probably bounced last time out. Ginny's Destiny will take all of the beating tomorrow. Will probably then end up in the plate as well. Maybe even the Ryanair. I do think their horse is that good. The Changing Man, I have to give him another chance. He's going to run a nice race, I'm sure. It's whether he finds one too good. If he does, that could well be Famous Bridge, who's £3 lower than when going off the 13-2 favourite last year. Has the cheap pieces on, and last year all went wrong at the third. Had excuses. Gal Road, I think, is the most, I actually feel, is the most likely to run his race in the Cleve Hurdle, and that could well be winning the race, therefore. And finally, Party Business, back on better going, back over fences, back up in trip. I think we'll see a revival of form or a much improved run this time, and that could well be good enough to win the race.